This is the news on NTA International. I am Mina Daniels. Now the headlines. Nigeria and Saudi Arabia agree on standard of agricultural produce bill for export as the two nations tighten bilateral trade. International Criminal Court unseal an arrest warrant for a Malian accused of human rights abuses. Tension heightened in the Middle East. UN Secretary General calls for caution. And Nigeria kicks off activities marking 2024 National Environmental Sanitation Day. The International Criminal Court has unsealed an arrest warrant for a Malian accused of war crimes and crimes against humanity in the desert city of Timbuktu in 2012 and 2013, where he is suspected of leading an Al-Qaeda-linked Islamic extremist group. Francis Udojo reports that the warrant for Iyad Al-Ghali, also known as Abu Fahd, was originally issued under seal in 2017.
The International Criminal Court charges Iyad Al-Ghali with crimes including murder, rape, sexual slavery, and persecution of women and girls on gender grounds. According to the French-language warrant, the charge covers crimes in Timbuktu and an attack on a military base during which more than 40 Malian soldiers who were not taking part in hostilities were executed, including some who had surrendered and others who were in the base's hospital. The court said in a statement that there are reasonable grounds to believe that he would be the undisputed leader of Ansar Dine, the extremist group which held power in northern Mali at the time. Meanwhile, it was not immediately clear why prosecutors asked for the warrant to be unsealed now. In a written statement, the court's prosecution office welcomed the unsealing and said the warrant for Ghali reflects the continued efforts of the office to deliver justice for those in Mali who fell victim to crimes that were committed since 2012, when Malian authorities asked the court to intervene. However, the prosecution office declined to comment on Ghali's whereabouts. Mali, along with its neighbors Burkina Faso and Niger, have for over a decade battled an insurgency fought by armed groups, including some allied with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group, following military coups in all three nations in recent years. The ruling juntas have expelled French forces and turned to Russia's mercenary units for security assistance instead. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
And Cuba has announced its decision to participate in South Africa's legal action on the International Court of Justice regarding Israel's action in the Gaza Strip. A Cuban foreign ministry released a statement confirming their involvement in the case involving Israel's action in Gaza. The move is aimed primarily at stopping the atrocities against the Palestinian people as a result of Israel's disproportionate and indiscriminate use of force. On December 29, 2023, South Africa initiated legal proceedings against Israel at the ICJ, citing violations of the 1948 Genocide Convention in relation to Palestinians in Gaza. And the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Gutteres warns that fighting between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon will lead to another humanitarian crisis in the Middle East. Gutteres says the people of the region and the world cannot afford Lebanon to become another Gaza, where more than 30,000 people were killed and millions displaced.
I felt compelled today to voice my profound concerns about escalation between Israel and Hezbollah along the Blue Line. Escalation in continued exchanges of fire and escalation in bellicose rhetoric from both sides, as if an all-out war was imminent. The risk for the conflict in the Middle East to widen is real and must be avoided. One rash move, one miscalculation could trigger a catastrophe that goes far beyond the border and, frankly, beyond imagination.
And campaigns for the 2024 presidential election in Rwanda have opened, with President Paul Kagame among the contenders. Francis Dojo brings us the details.
9 million Rwandans registered to vote in the election to be held concurrently with legislative elections, a first in the country. The polls come 3 decades after the genocide, which claimed some 800,000 lives. The de facto ruler of Rwanda since the end of the 1994 genocide and president since 2000, Kagame will face the same rivals as he did in 2017. The leader of the opposition Democratic Green Party, Frank Habinza, and former journalist Philip Paimana, who is running as an independent candidate. Rwandan courts rejected appeals from prominent opposition figures Bernard Ntaganda and Victor Ingabire to remove previous convictions that effectively barred them from contesting. The Election Commission also barred Kagame critic Diane Rwigara, saying she had failed to provide a criminal record statement as required and had not met the threshold of acquiring 600 supporting signatures from citizens. Elected by Parliament in 2000 after the resignation of former President Pastor Bizimungu, Kagame has won 3 elections with more than 90% of the ballot in 2023, 2010, and 2017, taking home nearly 99% of votes in the most recent poll. The 66-year-old politician has been praised for Rwanda's economic recovery after the genocide, but faces criticism over rights abuses and stifling opposition. Kagame presided over a constitutional amendment allowing him to potentially rule until 2034. Francis Docho, NT News.
The federal government has assured that all agricultural produce that will be exported to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will meet international standard. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, gave the assurance during a follow-up meeting on partnership between Nigeria and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has articulated its requirements, particularly regarding standardization and other critical aspects regarding agricultural produce from Nigeria. To this end, Government of Nigeria is engaging with private sector entities capable of providing the requisite services to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Abubakar Kyari said the private sector entities will benefit from the export proceeds generated through this bilateral partnership.
The incumbent Nigerian government to further expand the investment space in the Nigerian economy, particularly in agriculture, is getting stronger, and the government is amassing greater confidence across the globe with renewed assurances of making Nigeria more investment-friendly, with an unrelenting emphasis on ease of doing business, thereby opening wide the door for mutual benefits for well-meaning investors, including from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We are desirous of a share of the agri-market of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the leading economy in the Middle East, to surpass the current volume of agri-trade as provided by available figures in crops such as sesame, cashew, ginger, soybean, wheat, maize, palm oil, animal feed, among others.
And still talking agriculture, farming activities have commenced across the country with the stability of the rains. And farmers are taking advantage of the season to grow more food for the country. It is, however, observed that high cost of inputs, especially fertilizer, remains a challenge. Well, let's join Musa Babaliu for details.
The heavens have opened again, the rains coming in torrents, and the Nigerian farmers are already back to doing what they know best. Rain-fed farming is most practiced in Nigeria. The farming activities consist of land clearing, preparation, and planting. The prediction this year is that the rains will come early and cease early. Farmers are advised to plant early maturing seeds, especially farmers in the northern parts of the country.
And also, among the technologies we are teaching the farmers is how to better use fertilizers and agrochemicals. So typically the farmer will come and broadcast or site place this fertilizer underneath the plant stand, which is not so good practice.
This farmer told me that their major challenge this year is high cost of inputs. The cost of fertilizer is a major challenge. A bag is above 50,000 naira, he says.
If you look at the bulk of these farmers, especially in villages, are poor. Some of them can barely afford to get maybe just a tier of fertilizer. Talk less of getting a bag which is going for almost about 40-something or 30-something thousand.
Investigation reveals that exchange rate and cost of transportation were responsible for the scarcity and high cost of the inputs.
I bought fertilizer for 36,000. And we know that in February it went for 22,000. In April it was 8,000 plus. So instead of the price coming down, when the dollar is coming down, we had expected the price of fertilizer to be also coming down.
However, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture has received donation of 200 million bags of fertilizer worth 10 billion naira from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The ministry has already commenced the distribution of the input to states to cushion the effects of high cost of fertilizer.
But what we need to do, research in good seed, shorten cultivation period, drought-resistant crops, heat-resistant crops, and also do all year-round farming. This is something that we're looking into.
In the area of seed supply, the Agricultural Seed Council of Nigeria is ensuring that farmers have access to high-quality seed this year.
What normally happens is, you need to know, for example, what is the demand for maize, for rice, for sorghum, for cowpea, for this and that.
There is the belief and optimism that more food will be produced at the end of the season. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And the National Economic Council Ad Hoc Committee on Flood, Erosion, Drought and Desertification says it has developed a comprehensive plan of action for preventing flood disasters in Nigeria. Co-chairman of the Technical Committee and Minister of State for Water Resources and Sanitation, Bello Mohammed Goroyo, announced this while presenting the final report to the chairman of the NEC Ad Hoc Committee and Governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, in Abuja. The committee's recommendation reports is in response to current environmental challenges posed by flooding and erosion. The roadmap, according to the Minister of State for Water Resources, contained in the report has been carefully designed to cater for immediate, short and long term. It also contains what its stakeholders' responsibility should be during disasters. The report further suggests the federal government should revisit the operation of the derivation fund.
Recommendations on what each stakeholder responsibility should be before, during, and after every disaster. For instance, the financing obligation of stakeholders has been clearly delineated. One of the important recommendations on funding disaster in Nigeria is that NEC should revisit the operation of the derivation fund. The federal government should also consider some amount of 3 billion naira to each state and 4 billion naira to the line ministries to discharge their responsibilities even before the disaster occurs.
And Chairman NEC Ad Hoc Committee and Governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, acknowledged the completion of the committee's task and expressed confidence that the report will be effectively utilized.
I will disturb Mr. Vice President, we will disturb Mr. President to make sure this report is being implemented.
The report will be forwarded to the National Economic Council for consideration. As still watching the news on NTA International, let's take a break now. More reports shortly. Glad to have you back. An emphasis on healthy environment and hygienic practices among Nigerians in the wake of adverse effects of climate change and outbreak of diseases is dominating conversations as the Federal Minister of Environment kicks off activities marking the 2024 National Environmental Sanitation Day. Charles Alpha reports.
Environmental sanitation in the era of climate change. Go greener, stay clean. Climate change is real, echoes the urgency and premium the Nigerian government and its foreign partners place on the survival of man and the ecosystem after designating 28th of June every year as its National Day of Environmental Sanitation. Barely days to the commemoration of the day, the Federal Ministry of Environment, the World Health Organization, Breakthrough Action Nigeria, AMAC, and a host of other partners, as part of preparations for the national event next week, took to Piwe, a community off the airport road, to sensitize members and also carry out cleaning exercise.
The date is on the 28th of this month, but we need to kickstart some activities to let the people know what the day is all about. Activities is to make sanitation, to embed sanitation as a way of life. So having sanitation once in a month is not the right thing. It should be a daily affairs.
One of those ways is to ensure that there is a functional and effective community sanitation team in the community that takes ownership so that when we leave, this can be sustained.
Representative of the Federal Ministry of Environment, the issue of Piwe led by example, as members took to cleaning parts of the community, particularly the markets, with emphasis on open defecation, hand washing, and effective waste disposal for a healthy living.
Already have joined hand. I have joined hand committee, and we will continue and more.
Cleaning equipment were donated to the community for their daily cleaning and hygiene. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
The 614 kilometers Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano Akk Gas Pipeline will be completed and ready for operations in the first quarter of 2025. This is the assurances by the federal government delegation, including the Minister of Information and International Orientation, Mohammed Idris, during a visit to the project site in Kaduna. Salihu Gwanara reports.
Mr. President, on the spot assessment of the ongoing Akk Gas Pipeline project site demonstrates the federal government's determination to ensure the completion of the multi-billion-dollar project inherited from the previous administration.
It's a gas-to-power project. There will be gas for power, there will be gas for industry, even gas for agriculture. This is implementation and execution of Mr. President's strategy to get the Nigerian economy growing again.
Determination of Mr. President to complete ongoing projects. We have this tradition in this country where projects are usually abandoned, especially when there's a change of baton. This is an extreme commitment by Mr. President to ensure that whatever has started that has immense benefit for our people, is completed, and not just completed, or completed on record time. And the benefit to Nigerians will of course be seen very shortly. Just recall that when you work on gas, Nigeria is actually not just a petroleum country, it is also a gas country.
We are working towards expanding this project to other parts of the country so that at the end of this administration, we will have gas in every state of the Federation.
Custodian of the project group chief executive officer, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, says the $2.8 billion project has received 90% funding.
That there is no engagement I have with the president that he does not mention the delivery of the AKK project, and we are very, very happy that this is happening and will deliver it.
We are optimistic that by the time this is finished, with the jobs that will be created and people having a decent standard of living, that the security challenges that we have in Kaduna will go down.
The team assured that the federal government renewed hope initiative will harness the nation's natural resources like gas to economic prosperity in Kaduna Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has committed to fast-tracking gas supply across the country. This is as the NNPC Limited records a milestone with the successful construction of OB3 pipeline across the River Niger with the deployment of the latest technology for microtunnels, facilitating the seamless installation of the pipelines underwater. Lydia Sampson reports.
Discussions, son, did not deter this federal government's team on a mission, which is to quickly harness Nigeria's enormous gas resources as encapsulated in the renewed vision.
To pull 1.8 kilometers of pipe under the river Niger to cross to the other side of the river so that we can connect these pipes to our already completed pipeline networks across on the other side and also link it up to the other end of the western part of our pipeline network, which connects both the west and the east and the north of our country. This is a major project of monumental value to our country.
It's not only a project for us, it's a hard desire to bring the gas over, and we are very, very confident to hit the other side.
The level of work and milestone attained is a pointer to the commitment to deliver as scheduled. The OB3 River Niger crossing pipeline is very critical to pipeline interconnectivity, especially to the operationality of the AKK pipeline.
Gas will be supplied to all the 6 geopolitical zones of this country, and we will have enough to equally export, which will generate revenue for the country. Power generation will be improved and supplied to domestic homes.
It's very integral to our ability to turn this gas into foreign exchange via LNG or petrochemicals, also to deliver prosperity to Nigerians in the form of electricity and many other uses of gas.
With gas already trapped in the OB3 gas pipeline from gas projects recently inaugurated by President Bola Tinubu, optimism is high that Nigeria's gas potential will unlock economic viability and opportunities for job creation and energy security across the value chains. Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo says wealth creation projects by government at all levels will kick out poverty and joblessness among Nigerians. He said this while performing the groundbreaking ceremony of Owerri Central Market Project being executed by Imo State government in partnership with private investors.
The Owerri Central Market Project was conceived in 1976 but never saw the light of day following its abandonment by successive administrations in Imo State until the current governor, Hope Uzodimma's administration, decided to revive the all-important project. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony, former President Olusegun Obasanjo noted that an initiative such as the market project, when completed, will create job opportunities and economic development. He therefore called for provision of more people-oriented projects by government at all levels to solve the nation's economic problems.
Over 2,000 market stalls with adequate warehouses, with adequate security, electronic and physical, and it will be opportunity to create job, opportunity to create wealth.
Governor Uzodimma in his speech says the market project upon completion will serve as a linkage to domestic economy and global economy.
The market will take care of both the foreign and the local interests and provide a conducive atmosphere for the traders that will be resident here to do their businesses in a more hygienic environment and boost the economy of not only the community, not only the local government, not only the state, not only the Nigerian economy and the global economy.
The governor also assured that all illegal constructions and buildings that constitute obstructions to the project must be demolished.
The Director General, Voice of Nigeria VON, Jibrin Babandache, has charged Nigerians to respect and cherish the sacrifices of the nation's armed forces in protecting the territorial integrity of the country. This was when VON management team paid a courtesy visit to the leadership of the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, DEPOA, at its secretariat in Abuja. Chukwunonso Wabweze reports.
Jibrin Babandache said the visit is not only to commend the leadership of DEPOA for their support to their husbands in the fight against all forms of insecurity in the country, but also to pledge VON's readiness to collaborate with DEPOA in amplifying its humanitarian activities, especially in the area of women empowerment and development.
We've been doing a lot in terms of women and youth already, but we want to offer you platform for a dedicated program on DEPOA, which will offer you opportunity to tell DEPOA story in a more concise and in a more vibrant manner.
We are going to do more, and you've graciously accepted to also, reach out more and then collaborate more in different areas. And so we are really grateful. I want to thank you for all you are doing. Like you rightly said, we do a lot of things with the widows, with the orphans, and with the vulnerable in the barracks.
Jibrin Babandache used the meeting to drum up support for the sacrificial services of the personnel of the nation's armed forces and appealed to some Nigerians who pride in spreading fake news and misinformation about the activities of the country's security agents to refrain from such unpatriotic acts. Chukwunonso Wabweze, NTA News.
And this is where we end the news. Many thanks for watching. I am Mina Daniels.